Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. With me is the Welsh, and of course, it's you. And we have baseball back today. Not a lot of games, but we do have some. For those of you who are just jonesing for some action, we also have some trade talk to discuss, some interesting proposals that have put out there theoretically for Juan Soto. And we're also going to take a deep dive into the betting market today. So in case your fantasy teams have not gone the way you had hoped, maybe you can make up some of that money in the futures market with some of these teams that we're going to talk about today and some of these odds. So it's going to be a little bit heavy on the betting today, but also, Welsh, I think that's always fun because I think now we know who teams really are, who they're not, and maybe who is set up for a good run as we look ahead to the real playoffs of baseball coming in the next 2 months.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too to see how all the books are going to be readjusting in the second half because there's like a really good movement in their favor on the second half of the first half. You know, in the beginning, you kind of had an advantage on total props. Strikeout props were really good, first fives. And then as we've gone on, everything has really, really tightened up. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to adjust in the second half. And as the chat said, just because we're talking about gambling, this second half is where we all win championships. This is where the championship run truly, truly begins.
Yes, that's right. It's how you finish, not how you start. That's what I've been told.
Oh,
but I don't know if that's true. I mean, who knows? All right, let's get after it. Let's talk about some of the headlines here. And let's start with the very top, which is good news for Seattle that George Kirby expected to rejoin the rotation on Tuesday. Jordan Alvarez, just Alvarez, is expected to also return today. So that's very good news. A lot of circulation going on, too, about Michael Conforto, who's been a free agent all year. Now that the draft is over, he's free to sign somewhere. Do you think Michael Conforto hooks up with a major league team here? I say somebody does give him a contract and tries to bring him up either as a, outfield extra bat or DH kind of guy. I would think he signs somewhere here in the second half. What do you think?
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. This was the play where he's like, I'm going to sit out for the year. There's nothing out there for me. Now you're in a spot where teams are going to be looking for bats, dealing with injuries. And this was he definitely struggled last year, but still put up 14 homers, 50-50 on the run in RBI. But he's only a couple years removed from a 30 homer season. So we have to see. I don't know how aggressive it is. I think Boris is the agent, and Boris has just been on just boom, boom, boom. Like, hey, the Nationals didn't have Soto on a flight. Isn't that horrible? Isn't that crazy? Rookies. I mean, he's just out there selling left and right. Maybe the hardest working man in baseball, even though he might be one of the most hated. So yeah, Conforto's being sold out there, but I don't know how many teams are really looking at this moment. I feel like he's going to be a post trade deadline guy, like maybe, August 10th or something like that. So if you want him, preemptively pick up, especially if he goes to a nice spot.
And yes, I see in the chat people are talking about it, so we have to address the elephant in the room, which is my David Bowie Space Oddity light is back and here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, baby. Oh yeah. Well, maybe it should be more of the Barry White stuff. It could be a little Teddy Pendergrass. Maybe start playing some of that. It's gonna be good times. This is why you subscribe to the channel. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P. Oh yeah. All right. Let's take a look at some other news here. Mitch Haniger beginning his rehab assignment. So that's another huge piece for Seattle. I think we forgot about Mitch Haniger. I know I did. Yeah. So, Seattle's making a run here. I think Seattle's going to be an aggressive team in the next 2 weeks here. Do you agree with that? That Seattle's going to do something else? I feel like they are.
They should be. They have to be. I think they need to really hit the rotation. It's funny you mentioned that with Haniger because for me, he's one of those guys. Every time I read, I'm like redoing my rest of season ranks. I'm like, dang it. What do I do with him? Because when he comes back, there's like a 30, 40 homer guy is he coming back? When is he coming back? So I'm always just playing around with that. This is going to be an influx to the roster, they're going to be able to put in at that 4, 5, 6 slot, big home run power. And I think it's going to be one of those things when you look at the record, you look at, how they ended out the first half and the, simple small needs that this team might have. Yeah, I think they need to be aggressive, but my eyes, the aggressiveness is still in the pitching market. Go get the Frankie Montas. Go get the Luis Castillo. Yeah. Go get one of those guys to shore out your rotation. Maybe get maybe try to get one of those cheap closers to put in there. The offense seems decent. I just don't know how much offense they make, but I would love to see them be hyper aggressive. I've seen people trying to associate them with the Soto stuff, and I don't think so.
We'll get to that package that they want to put out there, which is it's interesting. But it involves Jared Kelenic. So once again, I don't know if that's the cornerstone piece that you want to build a Soto trade around if you're the Washington Nationals. I don't think you do. That's the problem there. The Diamondbacks don't want to build a rotation anymore around Dallas Keuchel. He was DFA'd for the second time this year. How many times do you have to be DFA'd before you take the hint and say, maybe I'm done here? Maybe I should just go home, sit on a pile of money because he's got that and just chill. I respect the guy wants to pitch still, but clearly nobody wants him to pitch for them.
Go hang out with Kelly Nash. That's his girlfriend. So go hang with Kelly. I don't know. I think it's going to, I would say for somebody that was designated by the White Sox that then went to the Diamondbacks, that's someone who's showing themselves they're not ready to stop baseball, that he went down that road. He pitched like 3 games in complex league until he got called up. I don't know what the record is for being designated for assignment. We know Edward Olivares, who was optioned like 11 times in a season or whatever. I'd like to see him get designated a couple more times, if I'm being honest. Just collect a bunch of jerseys this year. So I hope Seattle picks him up. He has one half of an inning start. He's designated. Let's go for the record. Let's do it.
By the way, everybody really enjoying this whole new intro. Apparently that new Hey Yo should be the lead into all the podcasts. And I knew I loved Bizarrizza Jizza. He's more of a Jodeci guy. Me too. Come and talk to me. I really want to know your name. That's the height of love.
Is that the one relationship?
It's that's not Jodeci. That's a different.
I don't remember.
But it's the same genre.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember 90s hip hop. Just nothing.
I could talk about 90s R&B all day long, but that's another podcast. Let's instead talk about the Nats and what they want for Juan Soto, possibly. Now, just to point this out there, I went and I did a little spot tracking because I do love the spot track. If you are going to take on a contract, here's what is basically left and remaining on Patrick Corbin. He's got a year at 24 and a year at 35. So that's not like ridiculous. $60 million. Okay, that's a lot, but not compared to Steven Strasburg. Steven Strasburg has, $140 million remaining and several more years. He's got this year and then all the way till 2026. And then he's a free agent in 2027. So a total of 140 million versus 60 million. Huge chasm there.
Can they offer him a stake in the organization to get rid of that contract or something? They should do whatever they can. But
no one's taking that. I'm just telling you right now, everybody,
in hell
nobody is taking the Strasburg contract. The Corbin contract with Soto, if you take the Corbin contract, I think they will take lesser prospects. I really do.
But that's
maybe just take the one and then a couple answers. They're not you don't have to back up the truck and take Corbin with Soto. I don't think that's necessary, but nobody's taking the Strasburg contract.
And that's the thing that I think people need to come to terms with. The rumor out there was the Nationals are going to want the top 4 prospects, a major league ready player. And I don't even know what the other thing was. And you're just not going to get the package that everybody expects if Corbin is involved. That's a lot of money. That's $60 million that's going to be involved, plus what's going to have to be spent with what is most likely no guarantee at a big contract. There's a very good likelihood of what's being talked about out here is Soto wants to hit free agency and see it. Now, if you build a rapport and you're one of the big teams, you have a better chance, but I don't think a trade is going to happen and then a contract extension is going to happen right after that. So you have to remember, you're buying 2 years of Juan Soto and you're taking on $60 million, so that, when people look at,
but that's Juan Soto. I mean, think of it this way: if you're paying Juan Soto, that's what he would make, $30 million a year, right? So you said I'm saying if you take the Patrick Corbin contract, how much is Soto's contract? That's what I know right now.
I think it's $14 million right now. And
okay, so you're paying so you have to retrain your brain. So if I've got Soto and Corbin for 2 years, and I'm paying a combination of $45 million between the two of them a year, you could say, okay, well, 30 of it theoretically should be for Soto, but it's really going to Patrick Corbin.
Sure, you could do that.
You can make that justification in your mind.
You don't have the long-term deal set. You've taken on 30 to 40 million, or whatever it was, 25 to 35 million dollars on Corbin. And when people go out and they look at a team and they go, okay, so what should we get? And then they look at the Cardinals and they're like, well, we should get Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, probably Jack Flaherty, maybe Dylan Carlson. We should get this and that. That's not going to happen when they take on that really large amount of money. And when push comes to shove, that teams are not going to have that full commitment. It'll still be good deals. Like I put together on our Twitch live stream that Boggs and I do a couple days ago, I had put together some trade offers, and I think overwhelmingly it wasn't received in like this isn't as sexy. Like with the Yankees, I didn't give Jason Dominguez, Anthony Volpe, and like 6 other guys. I chose one, and I chose Jason Dominguez.
Well, let's go through them. This is from
Sure.
MLB.com. This is I don't know if someone actually put their name to this or if this is a collective here, because it just says MLB.com. Let me scroll to the bottom real quick and give credit if there is indeed credit to be had potentially.
Just
It's a combination of all their different writers. Okay, so that's what this
just
is.
One of those bots. You've seen those things where it's like you type in 3 sentences and it just
this looks like something we do at Fantasy Pros, when we do the
Sure.
Here's 5 different people telling you to buy low, sell highs. It's like that.
Staff.
So they pulled all the staff together for this. So this is the Mets version here. The Nationals get David Peterson, Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio, Alex Ramirez, and just take Juan Soto. I think that if you took Corbin, you could probably keep Mauricio or Brett Beatty if you're the Mets. That's what I think. You could still do this framework of the deal, but if you took on Corbin, I think that you can give up less prospects. And maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe that's not the path, but I think it's something they could consider.
That's what's going to be really hard. So with that Mets deal, I had given them we have 2 similars. I had Francisco Alvarez and Alex Ramirez, but instead of Beatty, Mauricio, I had Mark Vientos and Mike Vassell. So there's a 1 pitcher in there. Mark Vientos was just at the Futures game, huge, big power first baseman. So arguably a little bit lesser, I suppose, compared to Beatty and Mauricio. So those were the 4 that I gave. So we were kind of close on the Mets trade. Who else we got?
All right. The next one here that they have is the Yankees, which is just taking Juan Soto, giving up Gleyber Torres, Nestor Cortez, Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez. I think this is dumb.
I mean, this is like a wild. I'm not even remotely close to. There's no chance they're going to give up all that and take up all that money. They should. By the way, I want to point out they should pay the moon. Every team should pay the price that makes everyone.
But I think Brian Cashman over the years, and that one's from Jason Catania. The thing is, I think the Yankees have come to their senses over the years too, and Cashman believes in the farm system and wants to bring up these players, and this balance of a couple big free agents that you're going to spend for the big stars, but also bring up these guys. I mean, that's been their special sauce basically for the Yankees for the last 15 years. And I think that's something they should, I think that's too much personally.
I think I had too little. I had Jason Dominguez, Luis Seal, Luis Medina, Brandon Beck, a big pitching group. And then it was built around Jason Dominguez being like the big sell back to the organization.
The next Soto type guy.
Now, see, I do think the Yankees could do one thing I would throw out is I think the Yankees could entertain. I feel like they wanted to only trade one of the 2 big guys, but I do think they could entertain a Volpe and Dominguez and like 1 other piece. And it would be a little bit less, but it would be Yankees taking on Corbin and then the Nationals getting back 2 big pieces and maybe like 1 or 2 other really, really lower pieces that people don't even understand. I think that's a possibility.
All right. Next one here actually has Soto and Corbin going to the Dodgers. In return for Dustin May, Bobby Miller, who you've mentioned before, Andy Pages, Miguel Vargas, and James Outman. This one I don't like for the Nats, even though they're getting rid of Corbin because it's too pitching based. I want more major league, big time position players in a deal for Soto. That's where I stand. To me, this Dodge, although they're taking some money with Corbin, it's too pitching based for me, this deal. What are your thoughts?
And that's what my Yankee one was too. So this one I also had Dustin May and Bobby Miller, but I threw Gavin Lux in there with Gavin Stone and Pete Huback. Those were my
Gavin
5
Lux doesn't
guys.
move the needle though. Do you think? I mean,
Gavin Lux he's still a super young middle infielder, 290. I think he does move some of the needle, but I mean, Miguel Vargas, Gavin Lux, it's probably one of those 2. I just went with the major league ready guy because they had said they want major league ready stuff.
This one is a good deal. I just don't know if the Padres have the juice to get it done and then sign Juan Soto. Like, do you want to do this despite your future? Maybe you do if you're the Padres. Juan Soto in exchange for CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Morjon, Hassel, and Mears. Now, getting CJ Abrams and Mackenzie Gore, that's interesting to me. I think this is a good deal for the Padres, a good deal for the Nats. The problem is I don't see the Padres backing up $500 million for this guy. I don't think that's something they can do. And it would basically signal Tatis, we're moving on from Tatis Jr.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a possibility. So I also had Abrams and Gore, and that's the crux of it. I don't think they can get Hassel in any of these type of deals as well. That is Tatis? Massive pieces.
What about just a straight up for Tatis Jr. for 2 years?
No way. Nah,
if you're the Nats, you don't do that?
No. Well, the Nats, sure, absolutely they would if they could get some type. But see, here's a problem though. You get Tatis, and you're like back in the same situation. With did Tatis just sign a brand new
You're not
contract
in,
recently?
um,
Because I don't believe he did, and I think you're
no,
back
he
in the
didn't.
same. You're back in. Yeah, you're back in
You
the
are,
situation.
but because of the injuries, you would think maybe, you could throw 380 million at him instead, and not 440.
I don't even
He
think
might
it's worth
take
it because there's no way the Padres.
He doesn't have nearly the leverage power that Juan Soto has. Juan Soto plays every day, has been great. Tatis has had a lot of injuries. I mean, like Tatis might look at that guaranteed money and go, oh, you know what? Maybe I want to take this money. Whereas Soto's like, no, I can break the bank.
Just
I think it's a different point of view there.
Yeah, I mean, and Wonky's asking the same question. I'm having a total brain fart of like, I don't remember. Did he sign the deal?
Did he sign?
Was it an arbitrational deal? I just don't remember. I mean, everyone's saying,
he did sign. Mike's telling us here he did sign that extension.
I just don't think he does.
So if you're the Nats, maybe that's exactly what you want. Maybe you want the locked in young superstar that you could take for a very long time, because you were going to give that money to Soto. Take that off. Maybe the Padres have soured on Tatis. I don't know. It's possible.
You could speculate on it. I think not. I also added in that I did not have Hassel. I put in a couple lower guys, Yarlin Susana, Robert Gasser, Iggy Rosario, who could play a little bit now. It's smaller pieces. That to me is the quintessential trade with Corbin coming back for the Padres. Giving up Abrams and Gore, I think they would do for 2 years of Soto without a commitment.
Couple here, the Giants getting Juan Soto for Logan Webb, Luciano, Kyle Harrison, Luis Matos, Helio Ramos. I mean, it's not bad. I don't know if that gets it done. Then the Mariners version had George Kirby, Jared Kelenic, Noelvi Marte, Pinto, Ford, and Hancock. This is an interesting one.
And that's just their entire, they're just everything.
Like
just everything they
the
have
tank.
In the system.
The Kelenic piece is the piece that I have a hard time. Like Marte is interesting. Kirby's talented, obviously. But Kelenic is that one, like that is a dice roll. I don't know if you are the Nats, you want to take that dice roll. What do you think about the Mariners and the Giants here?
I just don't think they're the fit that we want them to be. I think there's pieces out there. I've heard on national side that they wouldn't do it without a Logan Gilbert involved. So you take out a Kirby and you put in Logan Gilbert. Maybe that changes the crew. Maybe it's really a Gilbert, Kelenic, Noelvi, and some other piece. It's just a huge investment that I think he's the least likely to re-sign there. So are you willing? Like, would they really be able to, dump out on the future of Noelvi and potentially Kelenic and what you have in Gilbert now for a 2 year? Maybe with
putting Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez together would be something. that would really be something special.
But you know what though? The problem that team can't do, they have to be careful of, which is different than so many of these other teams, is that'd be fun to go get, but you still have holes. Like we're talking about them needing to buy pitching.
And they need pitching. And they would be moving Kirby, who's somebody they want to build around. So I keep coming back to it, and everyone's like, oh, you're a Met homer. I'm like, no, I just think the Mets are in the best position with the prospects, the money to get the deal done. And I think if they take on Corbin, they're going to have to give up less. And I think, honestly, that might be the better deal for the Nats. Get 2 big prospects, unload the Corbin contract, and move on. Like, I personally think that's where this is going to go, but we shall see in the weeks ahead.
Padres are the one that I keep going back to. I think they can offer, I think they'd be willing to move Abrams and Gore, and that might be a best 2 return that they're going to find unless a team like the Yankees jump up. But I think the Mets are in the best position financially to,
if he goes to the Padres, he'll be a free agent in 2 years. The Padres are not going to have the money for Juan Soto. It's going to be that is surely a 2-year move for them, and they're gonna have to pay more arbitration for him, and they're already paying Machado and Tatis. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Fun facts. Let's switch gears here. 1975, Joe Torre of the New York Mets at the time grounded into 4 double plays in one day in a 6-2 loss to the Astros. Felix Millan, poor Felix Millan, their shortstop, had 4 hits, but every time he had a single, he was wiped out by Joe Torre. That's got to be kind of annoying, right? That's an annoying day. Felix Millan, 4 for 4, 4 singles, and each time he gets doubled up. By the 4th time, if I was him, I would be trying to steal second base just to get out of it. Don't you think?
100%. They should have been by the 3rd one. They should have been doing some hit and runs. Totally. That's funny.
And listen, forget the whole, like, I see this too. Mike's bringing up, I don't think they'll trade in the division. Forget that in division stuff anymore. It doesn't matter now, because look at the American League East. All those teams right now are the front runners to make the playoffs. once you've expanded playoffs, divisions, all divisions mean is home field advantage in that bye. That's it. It doesn't mean anything else anymore. I'm telling you.
Your
No
logic is
Major League
sound.
Baseball
I
team is
don't.
looking at it. All they want to do is, can we get in the playoffs? Can we be a good organization? Because anything can happen when you get in the playoffs. Plus, there's more revenue when you get in the playoffs. To me, the whole in-division stuff, the new CBA killed that. Like, I don't think that's a thing, quote unquote, anymore.
Yeah, I think your logic is sound. I don't agree. I think it absolutely is. I think there are bad feelings across the board. They don't want to trade within, but your logic is
so if you're a Nats
sound
fan,
if a team wants to
so
move
you're
past
a
that.
Nats fan, you'd rather trade him somewhere and not get as good of a deal and have your organization suck than have to watch Juan Soto for the next 8 years against
But
you.
that's super subjective of what you're saying. You're saying like, well, the Mets are the only one that can offer a good deal. That's not true. There's
No,
tons
but
of
I'm saying
teams.
if the Mets offer you the best deal, do you want the best deal if you're a Nats fan? It's going to help your team win, even though the cost of that is going to be watching Juan Soto play against you, or do you like, no, I want to be in the playoffs and I want to beat Juan Soto? I mean, you're looking up at Bryce Harper anyway, every couple weeks. Like, that's the thing. It's like if you're the Nats, you've already been down this road. You let Bryce Harper go, and he signed in your division. If you let Juan Soto go, nobody's going to offer him more money on the free agent market than Steve Cohen. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
That's going to happen. So you might as well get paid in prospects too.
I just don't think this is. I think this is that situation. Unless the Mets were so clearly above everybody else, I 100% think they would look at this and go, "Listen, we're going to trade it in division for the next 12 to 15 years. We're going to hear about it if he's a Met, and we traded him there, and we're going to have to deal with it, and he's going to bring down our organization." I mean, maybe they wash it because the team ownership is going to change, and what does anybody really care? And it's just a bottom line that could happen. Your logic also makes a lot of sense. I just think if you have 3 trades that are all close and they're like, all right, which one do we decide with? I don't think the Mets would be the one simply in division. I think they would move in another spot. But if the Mets had far and beyond the best one, it would be stupid for them to not consider it.
Idiotic.
And then I think they would. But that's just my opinion on it.
Like I said, any of the other places except maybe the Yankees, he's going to go and he's not going to sign an extension. I'm telling you right now. He's not going to sign an extension with the Padres. I don't think the Seattle Mariners are going to back up. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to be a free agent anywhere outside of New York, maybe LA. But dude, LA is already paying Freeman and Mookie Betts. And if they let Trey Turner, like, do they want to let Trey Turner walk? Is that really what they want to do? Like, the Dodgers could do it, but it is dicey if they do. Just saying, it's a dicey situation. And they still are left with a lot of pitching question marks when Clayton Kershaw retires this year. All right, let's go to BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Bet $10, win 200 when you download that BetMGM app and use the promo. Don't lose it. Use it. Use the promo code leading off.
They say if you don't use it, you lose it. And
that's what
important.
they say. By the way, the crown looks good in this light too.
It actually it glistens. I wonder what that type of lighting would do with my BetMGM tiara. I don't know, but
I think we need to find out. I'll have to go to the dollar store, get a tiara there. Again, BetMGM, the king of sports books. Let's take a look here. Here's the things that are remaining on the board. They're interesting. American League Central. You got the Twins at plus 120, the White Sox at plus 125, and Cleveland at plus 450. Let's do these all quickly. Where would you go, if anywhere, to put some money in the AL Central? Because I personally still do not believe in the Twins. I would put it on the White Sox, or better yet, maybe, just maybe, Cleveland at 4.5 to 1 here is a better wager than we realize.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, Cleveland is second in the division right now, 2 games back on the Twins. White Sox are 3 games back. Man, I think I would probably go. My gut says White Sox. Guardians, way better bet if you are just playing the odds. You're getting 4.5 to 1 on a team that is 2 out from the division, but I'll go White Sox.
The East, the Mets at minus 195 to win the East, or the Braves at plus 165. Look, if DeGrom is healthy, this is already sailed. I mean, it's Scherzer, it's DeGrom, it's the Mets. That's what I think. But if you think the other way, you are getting plus money on the Braves. You even venture into this one at all?
No, this is one I'm not going to play, especially that the Mets are, minus 195, and my only other bet is on the Braves. I'd pass.
Milwaukee Brewers minus 160 to win the NL Central. The Cardinals plus 125. I'm still waiting for the Cardinals to make their real move here on the Brewers. And I know they're getting Peralta back. That Brewers offense still scares the heck out of me, but I guess they've got enough pitching at this point where I probably just have to let this go. So I'm letting this one go. You're letting the East go. What do you think about the Central and the National League?
If I'm making a bet, it's going to be the Cardinals here, but I kind of agree with you. This is probably a let go. Like, you're not even getting like that great of odds on the Cardinals to take the division. So this is probably also a pass for me.
All right, to win the National League, you have the Dodgers at plus 155, the Mets at plus 320, the Braves at plus 430. Then you get 13 to 1 on the Brewers, 15 to 1 on the Cardinals, and 15 to 1 on the Padres. Look, to
Ooh.
me, it's the 3 to 1 Mets is the best wager on the board because theoretically, in a short series, you have DeGrom and Scherzer going multiple times, and nobody can compete with that. Bullpen's been pretty solid with Diaz at the end there. I think they will be aggressive. They will add more offense to this club. I have no doubt about that in some fashion. We'll see who those names are. And if they do pull off a Juan Soto deal, this number is going to drop
Skyrocket.
dramatically. It
Yeah,
might
it's
even go
gonna
to minus.
skyrocket. I think they could pass. I think they could
Yeah,
interchange here. I think you could have the
it's going to
Mets
be
being.
plus. I would put it at plus 115 and the Dodgers at plus 125.
Yeah,
If
and
the
I
Mets
agree with
got Soto.
everything you said on here. The best bet is the Mets, especially when you think about short series. If they don't
Mhm.
get Soto, I think they're still going to try to be hyper aggressive. They've got a glut of prospects that are just kind of sitting around waiting. The Vientos, the Mauricios, the Beatties, and the Alvarezes, whether they're using them up or using them as bait. I think that's the good bet to make here. Dodgers still seem like an obvious, but 3 to 1 on the money for the Mets. I like that.
All right, next here on the list is the American League. The Yankees at plus 140, the Astros at 2 to 1, the Blue Jays at 9. I mean, the jump is huge here. Then you go right to
Wow.
the Blue Jays at 9.5, the White Sox at plus 15, the Mariners at plus 15, and the Twins at plus 20. I still like the Astros here. I think the Astros in a short series because if they move Christian Javier to that bullpen, that is another huge arm that can go multiple innings and is dominant out of the bullpen potentially for them on top of the starting pitching they have in the depth, on top of the lineup. I think they create runs a little better than the Yankees do. The Yankees are a little more home run reliant than the Astros can be. So to me, I like the Astros here in the 2 to 1. I think, once again, this is where I would put my money. How about you, Welsh, the American League?
It's a good bet. I wish you got better odds with the Astros. I wish there was a bigger separator between the Yankees and Stros, and I probably would jump on it. But at the end of the day, I would stick with the Yankees offense. As powerful as can be in a short series. You get to throw out Garrett Cole, you get to throw out Nestor Cortez. I think it's actually pretty competitive against the Astros. And if you want to look at it, Mattress Mac already has put multiple $1 million bets. I think he put a $2 million bet on the Astros to win the World Series already, and that track record not so good. Kind of like to bet against Mattress Mac at this point. So I'm gonna go Yankees.
Well, he did win it one year.
Lose.
Plus, it's
Not
hard to win
lately.
the World Series. Plus 450 on the Astros right now. So Mattress Mac would do pretty well if he did put that million on there. The Dodgers are plus 340. The Yankees are plus 300. I'm off the public teams. I'm off the Yankees. I'm off the Dodgers. I'm on the Mets and the Astros, 4.5 and 7. And what you do is, if you think that the Mets and Astros are the best two teams potentially to win the World Series, then you should bet them also to win the National or American League outright too. So you're making all of that money all together. This is something it's imperative. If you're betting a team to win the World Series, please, please, please don't forget, bet them to win the National League or American League also respectively, because you're just idiotic. If you think they're going to win the World Series, they have to get there. And some people will do that and then not bet the other one. And I know the odds are less, but it's still money. You might as well be all in on it and go all in at one time. So to me, the Astros at plus 450 and the Mets at 7 to 1 right now. You're not getting great money on the Mets to win the National League's 3 to 1, but to win the World Series at 7 to 1, that's a pretty good number. And once again, if they make a big time trade, that number drops precipitously very soon.
And I actually like that idea. I like stacking a couple bets if I'm going to jump into this market. If this is something I'm going to do, and I'm not just thinking about doing my one team, and it's like, all right, I just really love this team, I'm going to bet, but I want to look to try to make some money. Doing that Astros Met stack, it doesn't take enough away from each other. The odds are so great, and you just pair those two together for a World Series win. It's a really good spot right now. Mets in a, like we said, in a short series, the way to go. Astros, anything can happen. I'm still picking Yankees, but from an odds perspective, pairing those two, pretty solid.
Only have a couple games here today. You got a couple games in the day, but Yankees and Astros, one of them. So that's fun. And a couple games in the evening as well. So in terms of like looking at DFS today, again, it's just, I don't like these kind of slates. I don't go in for these kind of slates, but we will do the home run call. Yeah, you got the doubleheader here for the Yankees and Astros, which is going to be fun. You'll get Domingo Germán back on the mound too. Important start here, because if he's not good and the Severino injury is troublesome, then the Yankees might have a little bit more pressure to make a Luis Castillo deal sooner than later. I'm going to go ahead and take 2 chances today with Alex Bregman. That's what I'm going to do. Alex Bregman to go yard today. He's got the doubleheader. If you're doing the home run contest today, you might as well take the doubleheader one, right? Because just don't you get all the days home runs?
Get all the homer days, right?
I thought so, but I don't
so.
know.
They
If
also
so, you should. So
I
there
think
you
we
go.
also should get extra points for picking Astros because they flew Paul Blackburn out to the All-Star game when the
They
A's wouldn't. I
did.
think that deserves extra points. That's community service for an A's guy. So I'm
Mhm.
going with Kyle Tucker. That's going to be my bet. I saw Dr. Glenn jumped in there. We're going to go with a couple Astros today.
Mike Mayer hated the fact that Paul Blackburn got flown first class. He wanted him to fly in the luggage area.
Wanted him
That's
to
where he wanted.
drive.
You want
Take
to
a
drive in a
take
PT
a Kia
Cruiser
Spectra. Yeah, or take a
from
Spectra
Oakland
all the
down
way
to.
from Oakland to
Well,
I guess
I
it wouldn't
mean,
be that far.
here I was gonna say, and again, once again, all the way from Oakland. I mean, where were they when they finished up? Maybe they weren't in Oakland when they finished. I don't know. I don't remember where the A's were last week. But if they were at home and he's only trying to go to LA, like, I mean,
Well, they
really?
must have been playing the Astros, and we're not thinking about it because why else would the Astros? Did they like go and divert to pick him up? They must have been like
It
in
must have
Houston or
been
something.
Houston. So nice job there. Good job. I
Yeah.
like that by the classy move by the Astros, the organization who personifies class. I think at every turn we can agree on that. All right, tomorrow we'll have full slate of DFS. We'll have some stats for you from yesterday's games and a whole lot more. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. The buy low, sell high video is coming out, so make sure when you do subscribe, you click that little bell for notifications. It should be sometime later this afternoon. I would imagine that video is going to come out, and of course, we'll be back again tomorrow to do it all over again. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, ladies.
Oh yeah.